You know this song was on repeat last night with Knicks fans taking to the streets celebrating the team's historic comeback in Game 4. If you missed it, I'm still going to give you a recap even if you watched. New York is on the brink of its first NBA title in more than 50 years now. We're going to talk more about why last night's win was one for the history books a little bit later this hour. But in the meantime, just know that the city that never sleeps never went to sleep after this big win last night. We're glad you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise, and I'm sure we've got some local Knicks fans that are probably get a little more pep in your step to start at 6 o'clock on your Thursday morning.
Especially the way they won it, because you know the fans were like, gosh, we're going to go, have to leave here with the loss. But they pulled it off. Some great story there from last night. We'll fill you in. But we also have some rain here this morning.
Yes.
A lot of it looks like on the radar.
Yeah. Well, real quick, want to give a shout out to Indiana's Obi Anunoby. I think that's, from on the Knicks. From Indiana, played for Indiana, and now.
Okay, so I guess we have, as long as we have a little Indiana connection there, I guess
I'm trying to find any reason to be grateful for that. I mean,
that one works.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Spurs aren't out just yet, though. Yeah, so
heading back.
They're going to be back at home, so we'll see what they can do with that. All right, here at home, though, rain on the way, right?
We've got some showers in western Indiana approaching the Indy Metro now. Not severe, which is a good thing, but the farther south you go, the better the chance to see some heavier rain and some lightning, and that is approaching the I-69 corridor from Martinsville down to Bloomington and then across the far southwestern tier of the state. Been watching some of this rainfall move into the Lebanon area now, tracking into far western portions of Hendricks County down the I-69 corridor. Some heavier rain, lightning now in Linton, and that's going to be moving into the Bloomington area here within the next hour or so. This is your looping radar over the past 3 hours. This did pack a punch back into Illinois, but since it's been moving into our area during the overnight, we kind of lose some of that daytime heating, atmospheric energy that would sustain the severe threat. So that has since weekend, which is a good thing. We don't want severe weather, but this could potentially impact your drive if you are primarily headed south for today. I think this is all going to wrap up by early this morning, 8 a.m. We'll be on the backside of that system. Then our temperature will start to rise. We'll look for a mix of sun and clouds as temperatures approach 90 for a high today. Again, that heat index approaching 100. There goes that morning round of shower activity. Even a few embedded thunderstorms. Might see a few pop-up storms today as we get into that peak daytime heating. A lot of energy to fuel that development there. And then as we get into the evening tonight, this is when we'll be watching an incoming cold front from our northwest. And this is going to be potentially what sparks another round of some stronger storms. But then we get some relief from that high heat and humidity come tomorrow. So we'll talk about those changes coming up in your forecast. We'll get you out to the traffic center right now. We do have a new crash near downtown. This is going to be in those collector lanes, I-70 westbound, where that runs parallel with I-65 south. See, we got the single car crash here. It is now off of the travel lane. So this briefly created a pretty big issue. We got some emergency vehicles now on scene as well. So everything kind of getting around this a little bit better. We'll continue to monitor this one, though, again, near the city in those collector lanes of I-70 westbound. Also have a crash on 65 north near 71st Street, causing some stop and go traffic back to the I-465 ramps.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Well, a top priority in the city this summer, kids and safety. But the idea of how to get that done is really up for debate.
It's tough to find a solution, but now that debate has made it to city county councilors. And Marina Silva is in studio this morning breaking down one of their proposals that looks at making sure kids are home on time. Good morning.
Well, good morning. One of the debates in the Public Safety Committee adding 17-year-olds into the mix of the city curfew, requiring them to be home 2 hours earlier. So right now, 17-year-olds only have to follow the state curfew, which means home by 11 on weekdays and 1 a.m. on weekends. Now, under this new proposal, they would need to be home by 9 o'clock Sunday through Thursday and 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturdays. Now, the committee voted to send that to the full council. Chief Tanya Terry supports the curfew, adding parents are also responsible.
We've had 5 kids that are victims of homicides this year already. We just started June. 1 of 5 was out after curfew. And if parents can just think, just plant the seed for a minute, what's my kid up to? Who are they with?
While the majority supported it, some are still concerned. Several people who spoke during the public comment raised concerns that the proposal could lead to more divisive interactions between teens and police. Now, that's not the only thing heading to the council. Part of a proposal that would require more oversight with the Office of Public Health and Safety was also up for debate. Part of that will head to the council, but I'll kind of break down some of the controversy with that.
Okay, we'll see you then, Marina. Thank you.
Well, earlier yesterday, IMPD Chief Tanya Terry also sharing her insight on public safety at another event.
Yeah, she talked with some of the young Hoosiers, the counselors who are hoping to protect.
Impact on their future, and that they need to care enough about themselves to make the hard decisions and make them early. And they need to surround themselves with people who care about them as much as they care about themselves.
Well, that was part of her message when she stopped by Young Men Inc.'s Summer Empowerment Camp to talk directly to young teens. She wants young people to understand that actions have consequences, both good and bad.
Chief Terry and camp organizers challenge those kids to take what they learn and apply it in their everyday life.
Well, happening today, there's another chance to weigh in on some proposed increases to excise and wheel taxes for Marion County drivers. City County Council's Public Works Committee is holding a meeting today. And the proposal is to raise the BMV fees to receive matching funds in order to pay for road repairs on the federal level. It's among the items being discussed today. That's at 5:30 at the Pike Township Government Center on Lafayette Road.
Also happening today, the man accused of hitting and killing a 6-year-old boy last weekend will be in court. Cumberland police say it was Tyler Johnson who left the scene after hitting Jari Spencer around 2:30 in the morning. Now, this was on the East Washington Street near North German Church Road intersection. Someone actually flagged down an officer after noticing the little boy. Police say Spencer had autism and was nonverbal and snuck out of his home without his parents knowing. Johnson, again, who left the scene, is expected in court at 9 this morning.
Well, for the second time in less than a week, a refrigerator that was set out to help families in need of help getting food on the table has been stolen.
So frustrating here. So the community refrigerators really are a lifeline in some neighborhoods, especially the ones that just don't have a lot of stores or options for their family. And the nonprofit Indie Community Pantry, they placed 12 of these refrigerators in those food deserts across the city, and they give people access to that food close to home.
Despite the setbacks, though, the founder says that she's still committed to replacing those refrigerators and continuing their mission of trying to help families in need.
Well, a popular trail near Eagle Creek Golf Club is drawing some safety concerns.
Trail users say golfers have been parking on the multi-use path for years. It's intended for walking, running, and biking, but it is sometimes used as overflow parking when it gets really busy there. Advocates, though, are worried that the parked cars could put people that use the trail at risk. Now, one group is calling for some simple fixes. They want things like bollards or barriers there to keep people from parking there on that trail.
Well, the Fever are back in action tonight after getting that big win Monday on the road.
So they're hosting the Chicago Sky at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight. But let's go back to Monday, shall we?
Yes,
yeah, I like to see this. Caitlin Clark nailing that three-pointer with less than 3 seconds on the clock, and that sealed that win against the Washington Mystics.
She is always money. Got to love that. So tonight's game is part of the Commissioner's Cup. So the Fever are currently 2-1 in that tournament. At 6:50, we do have a full preview of that matchup coming up in today's Fever Minute.
We got a quick programming note for you tonight. Because of that Fever game, if you watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, you'll need to click over to MeTV instead. You can check your listings or go to WTHR.com to find out more which channel that's on, and depending on what provider you have. All right, 6:08, Lindsay, good morning.
Well, good morning to you. We're watching one more round of rain out there this morning. Going to likely impact the Indy Metro and that I-69 corridor between now and about 8 a.m. Lots of dry time today, but another round of some strong storms overnight tonight does pose a weak severe threat, but also going to bring some relief from this high heat. We'll talk about those changes in your forecast.
Well, Lindsay, we're going to need that dry time so we can have a strawberry shortcake for a snack today, because we got to make sure all of these biscuits in these boxes, 15,000, are eaten and served to our community. So coming up, we're going to show you what's going on for the 60th year for the Indy Strawberry Festival.
Iran says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz after a second night of strikes by the U.S. military. We'll tell you more about the economic toll and the ongoing conflict that it's having on our wallets.